I'm Tony McCassell, the media liaison for the 15% set-aside programs. That would be the Minority Initiative Subrecipient Grant Office, who, of course, today is hosting the 9th annual Clearing the Air in Communities of Color Conference, and also with the Addiction Studies graduate program on the campus of UAPB. So thanks so much for coming. It's time to move on with the show. I've been over there with the youth all morning, so I may be a little amped up. Forgive me, okay? I won't have you do what the youth did. Every time I said the word that's, I asked them to say Rene Hicks. But I understand your mouths are full, so I'll just move on with the traditional introduction. Rene Hicks is a unique lady. She's the daughter of a Pentecostal preacher. She's a former accountant. She's an internationally known comedian, a cancer survivor, and she is serious business about tobacco prevention and cessation. You're going to get quite a laugh. That's why I want you to hurry up and eat your bed. I don't need anybody choking, okay? You're going to get... You want them choking, okay. Okay, you're going to get quite a laugh from the first African-American woman ever nominated for an American Comedy Award for Best Female Stand-Up. She's also been twice voted Comedian of the Year, and she has appeared at over 700 colleges and universities. She's also appeared on numerous TV shows, and she has Comedy Central Presents Rene Hicks. Please drop your forks and your spoons and give a warm Arkansas welcome to Rene Hicks. Understand, hold on, Rene, hold on. I got a little more business, hold on. Understand there will be no recording, please, okay? No recording. Understand that you like to pull out your phones, but we're going to keep this really simple, and we're going to kiss it. Not keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple, sisters. Keep it simple, several, okay? All right, Rene Hicks, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, I had to make sure I got my microphone, although I didn't really need the microphone since I am a black person, and my dad's a Pentecostal preacher, so you do learn how to speak very loudly. So I really did not lead this, but I'll take it anyway. How's everybody doing? Are you all amped up? Are you all, you know what needs to be done as far as tobacco prevention, cessation, and all that? I did not get a response in which I would have wanted. Do not make me come out there, trust me. Because I have been to Arkansas many times because my mother and her people are from Arkansas, Emerson, Arkansas. I know y'all don't know where that is. That's in the country. That's way back up in the woods. Don't try to, you don't know where it is. Don't even lie. You know you don't know. They don't even know where it is no more. Be quiet. It's way on back up in the woods. But it's all right, because I know Arkansas, and it's so funny because the last time I came, we have our family reunion every year around here. I don't understand, black folks, why you gotta have family reunion at the hottest time of the year. What is wrong with you? You're already seeing relatives that you do not like, don't really want to see, and it's hot. So we gotta stop that. I don't mind coming to Arkansas, but just not during the hottest time of the year. But I am enjoying myself here. I have been here several times doing tobacco prevention. I've done this particular conference and also Catherine's conference a couple times. So I am very proud at the efforts that Arkansas is making to save lives and to prevent disease from tobacco, which is the #1 most preventable disease and death and destruction that there is in this world. So give yourselves a hand, stop your eating, pat your hands for yourselves, for your efforts. Because I tell you something, it is very near and dear to my heart and my lungs. Because I am a cancer survivor, a lung cancer survivor. I had a partial lung removal. I did not smoke a day in my life because I told you my dad is a Pentecostal preacher, so you know I did not smoke because I would have been killed already. I would not have had to wait for lung cancer. I would have been beaten to death. And when I say that, I mean that in the most near and dearest kind of way. But I feel like every time I'm in a group of people that work for tobacco cessation and control, that I'm amongst those who are on the front lines of the next civil rights movement. And that is very, that's something that's very special to me. And you know, when it comes to minority people, you know that tobacco companies are after us. They want us. They want everybody, because you know they got a product that kills their customers, which that's the only thing that happens, where you actually have a product where you know you got to keep getting new customers because they're going to kill you. Now, that's kind of crazy. I like incongruencies. That's why when I got cancer due to exposure to secondhand smoke, I knew that there was a reason. There was a God thing, that humor is not a coincidence that humor rhymes with tumor. And tumor's a funny word. When you think about it, comics, we look for funny sounding words. Tumor is a funny sounding word. If you knew someone named Tumor, every time you mention him, you'd laugh. Tumor, that's my friend Tumor. Other people laugh. Your friend Tumor, that's funny. And being a black person, having a friend named Tumor would not be out of the realm of possibilities. Of course, he would call himself Tumar. And thank you, the Caucasian people that are here, for not pretending you didn't know what the hell I was talking about, because you know, you know. That's not, we don't pretend here in Arkansas, because you know you've been introduced to a black woman, and when she walked away, you're like, what did she say her name was? Chandelier. It's so funny, on my way to Arkansas, I was reading USA Today, and they had the top 10 baby names. And they were like, you know, Chloe and Madison and Jacob. And I was like, there was not a Shaniqua on there. Shaniqua did not make the top 10. I was shocked. Because in my realm, that would have been number one. And I was dealing with the youth today, and as soon as I said that, and as soon as the next person I asked who their name was, it was like, what did you just say? It was something like a Shamika, Nika, Waka, Nakala. I was like, okay, see, that's what I'm talking about. Black folks, we need to change the trend. We need to go back and take a chapter out of our white friends' books. Go back to naming our children from the baby book. The baby book of names. Stay out the cookbook. Stay out the cookbook. Paprika is a spice. Let people know that when they're considering that name. And I know I've had tragedy. I've had tragedy amongst this situation. One of my favorite cousins. We're going to see him at the family reunion. He went to Howard University, and he's a lawyer in D.C., and his name is Anthony Waters, a very nice name, Anthony Waters, but he let his wife name his little girl Evian Spring Waters. I was tempted to call and report them for child abuse, because that's just not right. The child is traumatized. She's just crying. I'm trying to console her. I'm like, what's the matter, sweetie? She's like, the kids tease me. They say, Mommy named me after bottled water. I was like, well, honey, she did. But at least it's expensive water. Not like your brother Toilet. I know he's calling himself Toilet at school, but there's no accent over that E. So I will be back here for the family reunion, and it's interesting because we have a lot of sanctified people in our house, because my dad is a Pentecostal preacher. So smoking was something that was smoking, drinking. That we did not do that. I didn't even have to think about tobacco control. It was like I mean, if you know anything about the Pentecostal church, you know it's strict. You know anything. You can't wear pants. You know, women can't wear pants, and you couldn't go to movies, and we couldn't go to parties. There was times that I felt like I was just a light bulb in a car away from being Amish. And the black Amish, they get no love in the hood, none. It's funny, too, because when I first saw some Amish, I was traveling, and I saw Amish, I had to go talk to them, because I wanted to know if their religion was as strict as my religion. And I realized it was, because they can't even ride or drive in a car. They can't watch TV or anything. I was like, whoa. And then I was there, and a guy got hit and killed by a car, and I thought, that is so ironic. That's so sad and ironic. That would have been like a Jewish person accidentally being crushed by a Christmas tree. Or a Catholic choking on a condom. You see, irony is how I see the world. That's how I see the world. That's why getting cancer from tobacco and it's like, that's how I find funny things like that. And you know, it's one of the things that I notice about secondhand smoke is that we had smokers up here today, and they were talking about quitting. Quitting is hard. I don't blame smokers. I don't blame smokers at all, because nicotine is very addicting. They say it is as addicting as heroin. I mean, so we're actually asking people to stop being heroin addicts. You know, you can't talk to a heroin addict. That's crazy. I have a cousin who's a crackhead. And don't try to pretend like I'm the only one with the cousin with a crackhead. Okay? And he came to see me after I had gotten out of the hospital with having my lung removed. And, you know, I had to watch him because, you know, crackheads will steal stuff. And I said, you know, I'm having breakfast. I said, you need to sit right in front of me. Please don't move because I can't move very quickly. And I need you to just keep your hands on the table, please. And I'm eating, and this just shows you the mindset of addicts. It's their addiction. I was eating bacon. I don't really eat pork because I grew up a black child, and I am porked out. Let me tell you that right now. And obviously my mom came from Arkansas. I'm sorry, Razorback people, I'm porked out. My mother would have put pork in Jell-O if she could have, okay? I'm porked out. You know, I cannot, and when I smell chitlins cooking, I cannot stand it. If food smells that bad when it's cooking, you shouldn't eat it. That's all I'm saying. You should not eat it. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, my crackhead cousin is there. I'm eating bacon, and he actually looks at me with a straight face and says, "You're eating pork after having gotten cancer? Don't you know pork is bad for your system?" I said, "Really? And when did crack become the breakfast of champions?" I don't recall the Wheatie box with somebody with a crack pipe up on there. No. Usually it's a basketball or golf club or something. Because addicts, when they can't reason. I know many people who know that I've lost part of my lung, and I tell them, you need to stop. I have a friend of mine, I told her everything that happened. She said she could not stop smoking because she did not want to gain weight. She's using cigarette smoking as a weight loss program, apparently. And I told her, I said, well, let me just say, if you are going to use smoking, an addictive substance, as a weight loss program, you need to become more committed. I told her she should start smoking crack. Because I've seen a lot of fat cigarette smokers, but I've yet to see a fat crackhead. So if you're going to go with that, go all the way. You have to talk to addicts sometimes in their own language. But we cannot allow public policy to be governed by the whims of addicts. We can't do that. It didn't work with Marion Barry in D.C., it can't work now. And when I do a lot of talk to people, city councils across the country, and I hear arguments from smokers, and I just think, are they crazy or are we crazy? Because they will actually say things to me that I'm thinking, what? I was at one in Evansville, Indiana. Now, Evansville, if you know, it's more, if you think Indiana, you think maybe Indiana towards Chicago. No, this is Indiana towards Kentucky. And so this is, and I was there, and there was a guy that stood up, and he looked like he had come from, I don't know where he had come from. But he gets up, and he starts talking, and he starts pulling up his shirt and going, I would like to show you something. I'm thinking, oh, God, no. No, could you show us with your shirt tucked in, perhaps, please? And he starts showing, and his belly was hair. I know I'm going to gross you out, but it was nasty. And he had all these stab wounds. And he said, look at these stab wounds. I got these in a bar. I didn't get these from anybody drinking alcohol. I got them from a smoker. Okay. And the smoke people went crazy. Yeah, rah! And I was like, wait a minute, that supports our theory that not only is smoking bad for us, but you can be stabbed by one. What are you talking about? Are you crazy? And then one guy got up, and he looked like he was fairly intelligent, but he was not. Because he said, I want to tell you people that it is my right as an American to smoke. You people who would want to take away my right to smoke are the same people who would support bestiality. So if you want me to quit smoking, then you are in favor of people having sex with their dogs, and shame on you. And the smokers went crazy. Roar, yeah! And I was sitting there thinking, you know, if the dog isn't smoking, I really don't care who you have sex with. I mean, what's that got to do with what we're talking about? But that is the addict's mindset. And so what we're trying to do is a very difficult thing. smokers trying to stop smoking, and tobacco prevention trying to educate people on it. It's a hard job, and you are to be commended for doing it. People try to stop. I have friends trying to stop. They call me up like I know what I'm talking about quitting. I've never smoked. I had a friend, he tried the patch. I said, well, I've heard the patch works. Why don't you get the patch? Well, he's one of those overachieving kind of guys. So I went over to his house. He says, I'm sick. I don't know what's wrong with me. It's because he had put patches all over his body, thinking it would speed up the process. He was sitting there looking like some weird leopard man animal thing. He even had a patch over his eye. He was like the nicotine pirate. Oh, smoker's life for me, matey. I was like, okay. Perhaps you should go to the gum. Go to the gum. I had a friend who tried the gum. They chewed the gum so much they got TMJ. So smokers are trying to quit. So we should definitely be supportive of their efforts, because it's not easy. And the cigarette companies do not make it easy. They are blatantly nuts, and they think we are super nuts, because they actually advertise, Philip Morris, that they have a cessation program. Really? You have a program to get people to stop using your product. Really? Huh. That's very interesting. That would be like a heroin dealer coming up to a junkie and going, look, dude, I'm going to sell you this smack. But after you use it, should you wish to quit, I got a website. What? Secession means to quit. Last time I looked in the dictionary, so my thoughts to Philip Morris is, you cease making the product, people will cease to smoke it. And there's a successful secession program. Because that just doesn't make any sense. Because they want you to come to their website so that you see all the other products you can use, and then way off in the corner there's a little tiny little section that you cannot see that says secession. It's not even spelled correctly, so you can't even find it. You can't talk to an addict like that. I myself, I'm not proud of it, but I'm addicted to Haagen-Dazs butter pecan ice cream. I'm not proud, people. I'm trying to quit, but I'm not gonna fool people and say that when I'm reaching into that freezer for that second pint, that I'm trying to see if they have a weight loss program listed. That's just lying. Lie, pants on fire. So the job we do is an incredible job, because I never would have thought, being an intelligent person I consider myself to be, that secondhand smoke would in fact kill me. I didn't smoke. I was just an incredible specimen of a healthy person, and good looking, just as I am now. Yeah. And that wasn't funny. That was the truth. I don't know who snickered about that, but I didn't appreciate that. But anyway, but here I am, and I'm going to work, and I was a CPA, and so, and then I became a comic, and so I'm just going to work, and I don't smoke, and I don't let people smoke in my presence, but I never would have thought that hour a day, a night, on the nights that I performed, would make it so that I would lose a part of my lung and get cancer. I mean, and then because I do like dichotomies and incongruencies, and my mind is constantly working, it just made me think, what else is like that? There's not a lot of things like that you can just be near someone. I mean, just think about that. I mean, if you think about it, it's like if there was a virgin, and because she happened to have a lot of slutty friends, she ended up pregnant. That's how it was. That's how it was. Or a vegetarian that worked at a fast food restaurant having a heart attack because they're watching people eat cheeseburgers. That's how it is. That just does not happen anywhere else. How does that happen? I mean, sir, what's your name? Matt. I mean, if I'm standing next to you day after day, Matt, you and I, we have lunch, and day after day, Matt, I just eat a lot of bread. You're not going to get a yeast infection, are you, Matt? No, you're not going to get one. And thank your lucky stars, Matt, that you're not. Every woman in here will tell you, those are not nice. Yeast infections are nothing to mess around with. But I started to think, what else is like this? How can I wrap my head around what goes on here? And you know what came to my mind was how AIDS. At first, nobody, if you weren't a junkie or you weren't in the gay population, a gay male, you thought, I can't get it. And then Magic Johnson got it. And then other people got it. And pretty soon we realized, we're all at risk. We can be taking care of our business, but if we get with somebody who's not, we're at risk. And I thought, that's what it's like. Because I remember my reaction to that. I said, when I started hearing how it was affecting the black community, I said, you know what, I'm going to abstain from sex from here on out. If I don't find somebody worth dying for, the candy store is closed. And it's hard to think and change your way of life when you're used to, it's hard. I mean, after 6 months, I realized something. I realized why Catholic nuns are so damn mean. That's what I realized. I was hitting people with rulers for no apparent reason my own self. And when you try to change your lifestyle, other people around you, they don't want to go along with the status quo. They've been used to it a certain way. I would tell guys, look, I am celibate. One guy told me, celibate? Well, I'm Sagittarius. Our signs are compatible. One dumb guy, he was dumb and drunk. He was like, celibate, sell a lot. Just tell me how much it costs. But when I think about that, that's a good analogy. Because I want people to get as determined around secondhand smoke as they are about AIDS. I want people to be that connected in and that dialed in. Because we're not. We're not. There's no way that with 75% of the non-smokers, we should not be at the whim of 25% of the people. It's because they're addicts, and addicts, they're constantly yapping about stuff. If we were addicted to clean air, it would be no contest. If we were like addicted to clean air, and we said stuff like, oh, whenever I drink coffee, I have to have clean air. I just have to. When I'm watching a show, I just have to. I'm at a jazz club, I just have to have clean air. I just have to. When I drink, I just have to have clean air. That's because that's what smokers say. I gotta drink and smoke. Gotta drink and smoke. They never drink good stuff and smoke, though. You never hear them say, ooh, when I drink milk, I must smoke a cigarette. I cannot drink milk without smoking a cigarette. You never hear stuff like that. Nothing. And I think that people have to think about it because we don't think about it. For so long, we as non-smokers, we were just happy if we could go somewhere and they had like non-smoking. They used to have like, you'd have to reserve a non-smoking hotel room. Remember that? You'd almost have to line up like you were at a concert to get one of those. I mean, it would be incredible. Or when you go to a restaurant, they still do this, which makes no sense to me. It never did, even when it first started. They ask you if you want a smoking or non-smoking section to eat in. And we actually answer that question. First of all, you take any kind of science class, just an elementary science class, and you realize smoke is a gas, it expands. There is no such thing as a smoking, non-smoking section. It can't happen. Smoke is not smart enough to go, oh, we're at the demarcation line. We need to stop here. Molecules, be small, be small, be small, be small. We can't go any further. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's ridiculous. It would be just as ridiculous if you came into a restaurant and they looked at you and said, farting or non-farting section? Would you answer that question, or would you go find yourself another restaurant? I believe you'd go find yourself another restaurant, and you would remember that a gas expands. That's what you would remember. You would not be eating that food. We need to think about it in these terms. I started thinking about secondhand smoke. That's so funny, secondhand smoke. Smokers, addicts think secondhand smokers when they use their other hand. When they get tired of smoking with one hand, they switch. I'm using my second hand now. I'm glad God gave me two. They think smoke-free is when they can bum cigarettes off their friend and they got to pay for them. Oh, I'm smoking free. Oh, I'm down with smoke-free, girl. Huh, I don't want to spend all that money. Well, them cigarettes, it's crazy. It is absolutely insane, but that's why I know God made this for a reason, because it's just, I love the incongruency of it all. It is absolutely nutty. And I think the way I look at it comes from being, as my birth certificate says, a colored child born into the Negro race. That's what I am. I know I don't look that old, huh? Yeah, I know I look good. I make old age look good, but I was born in June 28, 1956. And I tell you, I told people recently that, you know how they always categorize you now? You have to check what box you are. I put a new box in, and I write next to it Negro. Because I said I want to go back to being a Negro. You know why? Because when I was a Negro, that's the last time with all the different names that black folks has gone through, we have changed our names as much as we've changed our hairstyles. You know that? You realize that, people? And at one point, our hairstyle was what we were. Remember when we wore afros and we were Afro-Americans? We said, look, we just getting tired. We can't remember. Just make the two things the same. But the thing is that when I was a little kid, my mother told me, I'm like 4 years old, she says, you must be a credit not only to yourself, but to your family, your community, your church, and to the Negro race, which means you must also be the best American you can be. And that stayed with me. And I think that's why I do what I do. Because that stayed with me. And even in my rebellious period, I never went too far because that stayed with me. And I don't think I hear that anymore. And I think that's something that we really, really need. I tell people that I'm a ninja Negro. That's what I am. Because, see, back then, Negroes were ninjas. They did. They had to scrape and work and get over, and they had to protect their kids. They was like ninjas. Yes. And now America's in a situation where you ain't got to be an official Negro to have to be a Negro ninja. You white people are adopted into it now because things are so hard. You got to do the same exact things. And in those times, those are those skills, though, that you learn how to deal with things. And Southerners learn how to deal with things by laughing at them, all Southerners, and finding ways to get information across. And you know what? And I give credit to my family for that. And even though I know I got to go to that family reunion, and I always dread it, because let's be real here, people. Let's be honest. Family reunions is that time when you come face to face with your family tree and realize some branches need to be cut. Come on, people. And that's it. Why do the ugly relatives always show up early? Some relatives won't come, but every last one of the ugly relatives are always there. They're the first to come and the last to leave. Now, we're good-looking people. We ain't got to worry about it, but let's be real. You know, each and every one of our trees got an ugly branch on it. And it's hard to talk to ugly people, be honest. You ever try talking to one of your relatives? They so doggone ugly, they make you lose your concentration. You try and you're like, hey, how you doing? Oh. I'm going to have to text you. You got a phone? I'm going to text you. I'm going to text you. Because I'm going to text you. But family is very important about what your roots are and where you go and how you do. Okay, did I mention ugly babies are the worst? Did I just thinking about that? Ugly babies are the worst. Why do people put ugly babies in front of your face and expect you to compliment them? Why does that happen? People tell me, because my family reunions, come tell me, what do you do? See, white folks, y'all some phony people. Y'all be making up stuff. Don't even make, that baby's cute as a bug's ear. What? Bugs don't have ears, people. That's not a compliment. That's a lie. At least black folks, they be horribly honored. They be like, is that your baby? Oh my God, is that your baby? Cute. That baby's ugly as a rat's ass. Put the blanket back over his face and scare my pit bull. My goodness. But I think it's that strength, though, that was able for me to persevere and to be able to come and share my story with people so that other people do not have to go through what I go through. And you know what? And when you're doing, tobacco prevention, people think you can't laugh about stuff because it's serious. Oh, no. That's when you have to laugh at stuff. That's when you have to laugh at stuff. And you get points across better if you're funny than anything else. If you got a funny minister, you will stay awake during that sermon. When you're talking to kids, you better have some humor, because they ain't going to pay attention if you don't. And that's something that I learned very, very early. My grandfather was one of the funniest men in the world. Not just because he's from Arkansas, so don't be trying to take credit for it. He's just funny. But he would say stuff that would just, he would say the craziest stuff. He'd be like, 2 wrongs don't make a right unless you counting backwards. What did he say? What? He'd be like, let me just tell you something. Beauty's only skin deep. Oh, just don't tell that to an ugly person. Yeah. But I think it's that kind of, when you figure out things and you're able to speak, because I'm going to tell you something. A lot of people would have, and this is no credit to me, this is credit to God, would have wilted under, because I know comics who knew that I had gotten cancer from the same conditions that they work in. They didn't stop working in that. They just stopped talking to me. And people came back later and said, I just couldn't take it because you're so healthy and you're so vibrant. Because on stage, I'm very hyper. And they said, we couldn't take it. They didn't want to change what they could change because, well, that's just the way it is. And that happened to you? Oh, we just couldn't deal with it. And I thought that was very, very interesting. And I noticed it, of course. I also noticed that when I would make jokes about it, people couldn't. People just could not laugh about cancer. Oh, cancer is so... I'm not dead. I'm not dead. In fact, it happened right... I was diagnosed right before my birthday. People were going, oh, that's just so sad. Right before your birthday? That's a sad time to find out. Like there would have been a better time. Like maybe Groundhog's Day or Arbor Day or Flag Day. Nobody really celebrates Flag Day. That would have been a good day. Now, see, my upbringing told me, oh, no. No, you Arkansas people, you know what I'm talking about. I called up every single relative I had. And I let them know I have cancer. My birthday's coming up. I don't know if you've gotten me a gift, but if you haven't, you might want to rethink the gift. Because I would hate for me to die thinking you to be a cheap bastard. That's right. That's to come with it. Bye-bye. Oh, yeah, I raked it in. Even some of those cheap relatives actually started paying me back for years. Owed me money for years, they paid me back. Of course, there's always that one really cheap relative that kept calling, hoping I was going to take a turn for the worse. How you doing today? I'm doing fine. Doggone it, I'm going to have to pay her. She's doing fine, I'm going to have to pay her. See, it did not faze me. People say the weirdest things when you are sick, trying to be supportive. You don't know how many people said, Rene, you don't deserve cancer. You're a good person. You give to your community. You work with at-risk kids. You do all this stuff, and you just don't deserve cancer. I'm thinking, who really deserves cancer? Who would even say that? Who would go to somebody and say, I have cancer, and they look at him and go, well, you deserve it? Who would do that? Who would be so callous? And I hear in an argument, you say stupid stuff sometimes, but you're never going to get so upset that you go, you know what, I've had it with you. You deserve cancer. And not just any cancer, you deserve colon cancer because you're an asshole. No, you're not going to do that. Nothing's ever going to make you that mad, I would hope not. But my thing is that I know there's a reason for this, and I'm not going to lose my sense of humor or lose my belief in God or anything else. There's a purpose for this. And at first, I just started telling my story in my act, and people were like my friends were going, oh, you can't do that. People don't want to hear about that stuff. That's not funny. I go, I've always talked about things that people did not want to hear in my act and made sure that if it had a meaning to it, that it got out there. And in fact, my doctors thought that I didn't know that I had cancer because I was so upbeat. He was like, you know you had cancer? I go, yes. And we took out part of your lung. I go, yeah, even though you didn't give it back to me, I wanted it back. I wanted that chunk of the lung back. They should have given it to me just like when you go get your car fixed, they're supposed to give you the bad parts back. But they wouldn't do it because they wanted to study it. I think they didn't want to do it because they misdiagnosed it and they wanted to get rid of the evidence. But I'm serious. But anyway, so my doctor said, well, do you think you could come and talk to other cancer patients and, do the same thing? I was like, pretty much, yep. So when I went there, I asked them what they were most concerned about, and I would alleviate it. Women, surprisingly, was the loss of their hair. That was their biggest thing. I would think the loss of your life might be maybe number one, but it wasn't. It was the loss of their hair. And I was like, wow. First of all, our society has become so shallow that that's the first thing you think about. That was one thing. But then I understood. And then I told them, I said, you know what? You need to get into laughing about it. Forget about it. This is what you do. You go to a store, and before you go in, you put on a cap, and then you get a shopping cart, and you fill it full of hair care products, everything. Mousse, shampoo, combs, brushes, scrunchies, curlers, everything. And then after the clerk rings up every last item, you whip off your hat and go, I don't know what the hell I could have been thinking, and then run. Run! Run. You don't need to look back, because pretty much this is where it will be. And then I told him, I said, then you go to one of those trendy, pretentious, expensive hair salons. And you walk right into the middle and you yell out, look what you did to my hair! You said if I washed it, it would look okay. It doesn't. They will give you your money back and you were never even there. But you have to have fun with whatever circumstance, and that's definitely a Southern thing. You have to learn how to communicate it and make it count. Everything that I've tried to do in my comedy, I've always tried to make it count. And I always tell people, I'm not a comedian. I never thought I was. I've always made people laugh. I didn't even know why. I just say funny things. My brain is weird. It is a weird brain. It says funny things. It used to get me in trouble all the time. In church, oh my God. I know my mother and father, whew, just to have survived. I know one time my dad, he had given us a lecture about we weren't participating in church enough. You know, because preachers like for you to participate, and they, you know, you the pastor of the church, you know, you want your family to be on every word, yeah, whatever. And and so, it's ego, you know that. Ministers are some of the most egotistical. If there's any ministers out there, you know, you got some of the most egotistical people I've ever seen in my life. Please, I love it when, I just a side note, if there's any ministers in there, I love it when, oh, they're in love with the sound of their voice. They'll start talking, go, I'm going to let you out soon. Okay, yeah, that's a clue. As soon as you hear that, get the finger up, start tipping out. Go, get the finger up. Don't trust his word. Get the finger up and go. And you know what that finger up, tipping out is? That says, God knows I'm going. I'll check you later. God knows. God says it's okay. Yeah, okay. But then they'll say, but I want to go to chapter Matthew. Can somebody look that up? Why don't you look it up? You're the one that want to go there. You knew you was going to go there. Don't be holding us here. You should already have it marked. What's wrong with you? I hate that. And then they'll get going and don't try to encourage them. That was it. You don't want to encourage them during that point. You want to just keep it low because they'll tell you, lock the door. We're going to have church. Oh. And I'm not talking 2-hour church. Some of y'all go to church for 2 hours now. I'm talking about all day. From Sunday school at 9:45 all the way down to YPW. I'm talking all day long. So I'm not talking about 2 hours. I'm talking about the extended dance mix version of church. That's what I'm talking about. But my father wanted us to be more participatory. So one time he was preaching, true story. One time he was preaching, he was like, God is not a man or a woman. God is not black or white. God is not straight or gay. And I yelled out, God is Michael Jackson. Oh my God. That church went silent. If a pin had dropped, it would have sounded like an explosion. I can still see the look on everybody. I think the sister in the amen corner just fell out. She just fell out. It wasn't the spirit. She just fainted. I was like, and you can tell it wasn't good because the people was walking out of the church. They were, well, God bless you, Sister Hicks. God bless you. You have given birth to the devil, and we gonna pray for you. We gonna pray. But because I was a smart kid, people thought that, you know, I had potential. But the thing is that you have to find a way. And when this is a very tough battle. That's why you need to be able to find things to laugh about when you're doing your work, because it's very stressful. Smokers need to learn to laugh more, and maybe that will reduce their reasons for smoking, because, you know, smoking is a social thing. Laughing is a social thing, you know? I often tell kids when I'm talking to them that laughter, sharing laughter with people is better than having sex. I don't really get a good response from that when I tell them that. They kind of look at me like, we was with her until she went there. But I tell them it is. It's a social thing. You feel good with somebody sharing it, you know? And I said, it's like, you know, I told women you can laugh with multiple partners and nobody thinks you're a slut, you know? And I tell the guys, I said, and let me just tell you something. When women look for a man, studies have been done. They do not look for a good-looking man or a man that's got, you know, nice body, although that helps. They do not look for the rich guy. They look for the funny guy. Did you know that, guys? Did you know that, sir? Yeah? You did? Oh, I said, you really know it, the way you shaking your head. Oh, yeah. I know that. I got a big sense of humor. right. Well, good. Oh, he was there. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm working that sense of humor. All righty, sir. But I tell them, and it's hard to hate people that you laugh with. It's hard to hate people that you laugh with. And when you need to connect across so many lines about this particular problem, you need to have some sort of connection. You need to have something. And I always say that there's a reason for all of this. There's a reason that I never thought I was funny, but people would laugh. There's a reason that, I went on to get this disease in the way I did. Here I was making people laugh, and when I was in comedy clubs, people would go, oh, you killing. Every night you just kill. That meant that you'd really get like people laughing and falling out. And then I thought that came to me in the hospital, that people used to say that. And all that time people were saying that all that secondhand smoke was killing me. How ironic. And as I said, I like irony, I like incongruency. I thought, there's a reason for this. And it's this reason. It's this reason. And because smoking has been so much, tobacco is our history. It's our history. It's how we paid our debts. This is why slavery continued to have slavery. Long before cotton came along, it was tobacco. In fact, in Virginia, they changed their license plates. Their license plates used to say Virginia's for lovers. I'm not sure why they said that. I've been to Virginia and I haven't thought, ooh, I feel in love. I'm in Virginia. You know what? I'm in love. Let's go to Virginia. No, I don't know why that was. But they changed it to tobacco is our heritage. This is recent. And I think that that's because of what people have done to bring a consciousness about the dangers of tobacco. And I told them, though, that they were being kind of fake and phony because they had like a little tobacco leaf on there. I said, ain't you missing the slave picking that? That's what I think you are. If you're going to put it out there, you need to put the history out there correct. And you know the slave would have been smiling. On the license plate, you're going to have a mean-looking slave. No, it's gotta be like, at least I got a job. You know what a mad slave's picture on your license plate. You know, oh, you wait, I'm gonna escape unless you just wait till the night. But I believe that is why, because this happened recently, and I think that has something to do with all the pressure that we continue to put on tobacco. It's not nearly enough. It's not a dent at all, but it is a dent. And I see it as like a 15-round fight. You know, you got to fight to the last, because when you boxing, or you could be winning on all the judges' card, and they get that one lucky punch, and you knocked out. And it don't matter that you was beating the crap out of them all up until that point. You've been counted out. So you can't be like, well, we can cruise a little bit. And I always tell people, you got to go full force. It's hard. And when you have things like exemptions, I hate exemptions. And I think that's another God thing, because I was a CPA. So most times when laws are passed, my lungs would have been protected in an office building. But when I became a performer, then it's like separate but equal. That doesn't work. And that's when my lungs would not have been protected. And let me just tell you something. Smokers are adaptable. They are not going to stop going to where they are going if you regulate smoking. They ain't going to stay home and just smoke at home. No, they are creatures of habit. They are going to come out. And I say, well, when you fight against exemptions at all costs. Because that's just a politician's way of saying, oh, I did something. You ain't done nothing. You ain't done nothing. And that's why I say, don't let them get away with that. Because it's just not fair. It's just not fair. Because everybody's, you know how they say, nobody's free until we're all free. Well, nobody's free till we're all smoke free. And as I think about this is the next civil rights issue. At first, we got to get non-smokers in America to get to the Fannie Lou Hamer stage, being sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's the first thing you got to do. And when you look at it like that and realize that we are saving lives, we are saving lives. Because it's not just the smokers' lives, but it is all of us. 53,000 non-smokers died from secondhand smoke a year. A year. Not done anything, just going along, living our lives. That is 53,000 too many. That is too many. And in the minority communities, all of that is exponential because we smoke more and we smoke menthol. See, it's no coincidence that cool cigarettes are called cool and they are for black folks because they know that that's sweet, we're cool. So they go, well, that would be cool. They've done that before. We need to rise up. There was one time when, during the time that the Malcolm X movie was very, very prominent, that you had a lot of young black folks walking around with X clothes on. Remember? X. Cigarette came out with an X cigarette. Do you remember that? Anybody remember that? And the black community stood up and said, we will not have our icons denigrated in this way. The tobacco companies lied. They're really good at that, just in case you didn't know. They said that that wasn't for Malcolm X, that was the Roman numeral 10. Because they were going to come out with a pack of cigarettes that only had 10 cigarettes, marketed to black folks, but so we would stop smoking so much. Really? And when do people do transactions in the hood in Roman numerals? Huh? When does that happen? When does that start happening? When do you have homies in the hood coming to the liquor store going, how much for that 40 ounce? VII. Are you kidding me? I can get it for I down the street. You cheated me out of 3 eyes. Liar, liars, pants on fire. We have to get like that. Get these billboards out of our communities. And then somebody was talking about e-cigarettes, and let me just say something about e-cigarettes. The thing about e-cigarettes is it still is the act of smoking. You gotta take that out because kids will start doing that and then they will graduate to cigarettes. Those who smoke, they've even said, those who have tried to quit smoking with it after a while because it's still that act of doing it, it's muscle memory. They go back to smoking if they don't have the e-cigarettes, and those things are expensive. So the e-cigarettes is just something that somebody came along to make money off of the problem. That is it. The tobacco companies even sponsor an e-cigarette. Nobody knows that. They sponsor it. They want you to think that you are, in fact, not smoking when you are, because they know. I'm going to tell you something. The tobacco companies, I got to give it to them. They're liar, pants on fires, but they are like FBI profilers. They know everything about everybody. You think about it. They go for like women. They know body image is our thing. What was the first cigarette for women? Virginia Slims. Why? Because it's got a little butt. Black people, does this make my butt look too big? Does my butt look too big in this? Does my butt look too big in this? Let me just tell you something, women. Please do not ask men if that makes your butt too big. Don't put them on the hot seat like that. That's just not right, okay? Because they got to lie. You don't want the people lying to you, okay? Number 2, if your butt is big, then yes, it makes your butt look too big, but it's not the clothes. It's not a clothes conspiracy. It is your butt. Just don't blame the clothes. Let's be honest, okay? But that's what they did. Virginia Slims with a slim butt. If they had called those cigarettes big-ass booty bitch cigarettes, they would not have sold. Nobody's going to walk around and go, what you smoking? Big booty bitch cigarettes, girl. Look at the butt on that. Look at the size on that. They would not have done so. They would not have done so. Just like if the cool cigarettes were marketed to black people instead of cool, if they had called them Black Sambo cigarettes, do you think black people would wear? Hey, what you smoking there, Black Sambo? Really? No, it would not have happened. But they go after everything. I was in Hawaii. I was really kidding. I was like, you guys eat pineapple because they do eat pineapple a lot. And I'm not a big pineapple person. Pineapple's everywhere in every meal. And I said, you guys eat a lot of pineapple. I'm surprised the tobacco companies haven't come up with a pineapple cigarette. They had. And that scared me. Because now they're using, cultural eating habits. And I said, it scared me. I thought, it's just a little while before they're going to come out with fried chicken cigarettes for black folks. I know this. I know this. You go up into your grandma's house thinking you got some fried chicken cooking and she up there smoking. That's it. Grandma, I thought you had fried chicken. No, baby, I ain't got no fried chicken. I'm just smoking. And they get us through young people and minorities. They get us through the music. They know we like music. They know you drop some change on the floor. We're like, ooh, change. That's my song, change. We start dancing. And I'm disappointed in many of our black performers who perform in these shows that are sponsored by the tobacco company. There was one that it wasn't long after I had my lung removed and all of this, and I'm speaking as an advocate, where I was looking at this concert. It was De La Soul, John Legend. It was Common. I thought, man, that's a great concert. I wish I could go to that concert. And it was like a devil or angel popped up, and the devil was like, we should go. Why can't we go? You lost a half of your lung. They should let you in for free. And then the angel was like, no, that is the guys, and that's how they get people in there and minorities. And she speaks against this, and it wouldn't look right. And the devil's like, what are you talking about? It's going to be a bunch of black folks there. All black people look alike. Ain't nobody going to know us, son. Let's go. It was like that. It was. I was like, gee, why can't there just be good concerts without the tobacco companies? Because they know. They know what they're doing. And we only get uprising when certain things happen. I remember a lot of parents got upset about Joe Cool. They got it taken off. They said Joe Cool was influencing their children. Because the camel was, well, he was, for a camel, I guess he looked cool. He had on, like, you know, sunglasses, dark glasses, and he had on a nice GQ suit, and he'd be smoking a cigarette, and sometimes he'd be playing the saxophone. But they said the reason why they got rid of him is because kids wanted to emulate the camel. Now, I am a cultural Sherpa. I tell the truth. These was white kids. No black kids was going to want to emulate a camel because they know that the black parents would have taken advantage of that. Oh, you want to be a camel? Really? Why don't you get you and your sister and form a caravan and get them groceries out the back of the car? Then get the laundry. Yeah, we got a lot of caravanning for you to do. And you don't have to stop and drink none because that's what you got that hump for. Let's go. See, we know. They'll put us to work. We ain't gonna know. We ain't no beast of burden. We ain't gonna emulate no camel. And then I thought to people, if they said that the kids was really emulating the camel, then don't get rid of the camel. Usurp the camel and use it for good, not evil. You got the camel out there, you go, hey, it's a camel, instead of a cigarette, he got a broom. He's sweeping up. Why don't you go, hey, look, be like the camel. Oh, is the camel mowing the lawn? Yes, he is. You want to be like the camel, get the lawnmower. Oh, my God, I think the camel is going to get a job at McDonald's. Why don't you catch a ride on this hump and go with him? But all the things that they do, we have to find a way to counteract it. Whatever. Make smoke-free concerts that are just as good as their concerts. You know, make festivals that are smoke-free, that are better than their festivals. Everything better than them, because that's the battleground. Let's be ahead of them. That's why I say I'm like a stealth ninja. I got this comedy thing going. I'm getting in, poo, poo, poo. Pretty soon I've got converts. They understand, and I've got a story to tell. And even though I would not have wished to have part of my lung removed, to have to do this, if that's the way to get it across, to give me street cred, that's okay. I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to do that. Because really, even though I'm very healthy, I have to watch. I used to be the kind of person I was just healthy and just crazy and run around, did no shoes, no this. Now I'm like a little old lady. I gotta, when it gets rainy, oh God, where's my hat? Where's my gloves? Where's my, because I'll get pneumonia. I had a collapsed lung just out of nowhere. These things happen. They will continue to happen. I will always have to be cognizant of the fact that I have part of my lung gone, and I therefore will never be the same again. But I got something in exchange for that. I've got a will, and I've got some tools, and I've got knowledge to prevent it from happening to anyone else and to save lives. There's nothing greater. If it had to be a trade-off, it couldn't be anything better than that. And part of that is being here with you and knowing that other people are out here doing what they do. And the fact that you're from Arkansas, well, that actually makes it even better. Because I told my manager said to me, she goes, you're always excited to go and do this. She says, well, I have never seen you this excited. Oh, I was pumped. I'm going to Arkansas. I'm going to see Catherine, and I'm going to see Miss Mary, I'm going to see Ruthie, and hopefully she won't introduce me because she's long-winded, and it's like church, but it's all right. I still love her. Yeah. No, one time, the first time I came to Arkansas, and Ruthie Johnson, she introduced me. She was bringing up facts I didn't know. She was bringing out deep, dark secrets. I think it was 1907. I was like, 1907, what the? And you know, I think she was 7 years old. She was still peeing in the bed. What? Where did you get that from? But it is always a pleasure. It is always my honor, from the bottom of my heart and from all the lung that I still have, to be amongst people who are doing this, who are trying to educate, because it is a thankless job, and you know this. You don't get enough thanks. So you have to thank each other. You have to turn to each other every once in a while going, you doing one hell of a job. Give a pat on the back. Give a hug. Share some laughter. because you're battling an unbeatable foe, almost. And as black people know, we've beat the unbeatable foe before. We've taken them down before. And in the South, everybody knows that things that were endemic in our society changed. Some went kicking and screaming, but you have the history of being able to face it and change it. So my thoughts and my hopes always go with the South. I was in Alabama, I said the exact same thing, because you've been there. You know how to change something that has been a part of our lives and our history forever. You make the tough decisions. You fight the tough fight. And you don't let nobody turn you around. And that's where you can lead when nobody else can. And so that makes me feel like when I'm here, that I'm at the cradle of the birth of solutions happening. And that is because I know you have it on your resumes already. You have lived a life. You've already walked the path. It's just another direction. So thank you for your efforts, and thank you for having me here. And I am pleased and honored always to be amongst you. Thank you.
Each year, we like to award one of our sub-grantees who we think is doing an outstanding job during the current fiscal year as far as promoting the message. And we vote in the office. So this year, we like to present the 2012 Sub-Grantee of the Year Award to Future Builders Incorporated. And just a little note to say they are working on a petition to include information about Act 811 in the driver's education manual. So. All right.